My name is Shawn Kinley. I'm from Canada, a company called the Loose Moose Theatre, and we improvise. I've been improvising for over 30 years now, and it's a form of theatre where you make things up as you go along. I teach and improvise all over the world, about 43 different countries, and that's who I am. Uh, Everything. I've taught people in military, in uh, amateur groups, theater groups. Just 2 months ago, I did one for family therapists, systemic practice in Newcastle, England. It's in every area. Improvisation is such a broad idea. The idea that we improvise every day in life, our thinking is an improvisational kind of concept to adapt, to be aware, to tell a story, to see a story. It's all improvisation. So I've ended up in probably as many different fields as probably you can imagine, from teaching to military to housewives to kids. Tons and tons and tons and tons. I mean, the work that I was doing a few months ago in London was with a therapist, a psychologist therapist, and it was the specific reason why he wanted me to come in to bring the advanced work of improvisation into the field that he was doing. I learned a ton watching them doing it too. There's a process where they use two groups of psychologists. One will discuss information with the patients and the clients, usually a family, while the other sits in the room and listens to the work that's going on. Then the family and the psychologists here are quiet, while this group of psychologists just talk about what they've heard. I heard the family, blah, blah, blah. I heard the father say, I feel the father was also, and so they do kind of a reflection of what's going on here. My observation when I saw that was that there's problems like in improvisation. We know that everything is an offer. My sitting here and looking away from you and out the window has an effect on you. So on stage, the audience sees that and they tell a story of why this person is looking away, and we have to incorporate that into a scene work. This family who sits there and listens to people talking about them, or when they're talking about themselves, they're aware of these people listening to them, they have an effect. Their talking is now changed by the fact that they're being listened to, like the idea of Schrodinger's cat, where the scientific observation is affecting the experiment. So I had to tell them that their form of listening was actually an offer being made, and it's affecting the people who are speaking. So they're not getting the true information that they want to get. So that was just one little example, but there was tons of that kind of stuff. And again, very interesting to watch how their process reflected improvisation and how it could be bettered by the improvisation techniques that we use. Yeah, very much. One of actually Keith's lines of work was to look at mask work. His style of mask work went into something called trance mask, and trance mask was focused on, can you get the performer out of their brain so they're not intellectualizing everything. It would only be successful for a second or two at a time. You put the mask on, a mirror would come up, and you'd react emotionally and physically into the state of what the mask was telling you to do. The people who perfect this style are in perfect flow. There's no intellect getting in the way. The body and the brain and the spirit are all in one kind of connective tissue. That's not going to always happen. For us general improvisers who aren't using masks on stage, it happens in moments where the idea of accepting happens. There is no wrong answer. There's no reason to be intellectual and judgmental because everything is okay. And so that kind of aids in the idea of flow. There's a musician who wrote the book Free Play. And Free Play is about how musicians go into flow in an improvisation state. And I think it's easier for musicians with music because music has a deeper kind of transcending feeling than the intellectual process of a narrative improviser looking for the story. So there's more difficulty in our form than in other forms of improvisation. Improvisation in the future is going to broaden into millions and millions and millions of different areas in different of ways, and it's only limited by the way that the psychologists, the theater practitioners, the teachers will start to play with it. Because improvisation has its core in our living and in our thinking. It can be anywhere and anything.
Well, thank you very much for this interview.
Thanks.
And enjoy your 2 days.
Yes.
In Bergen.
Yes, thank you very much.